Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon sets video, this time featuring Granbull. I have 3 sets for Granbull for you today. They're all actually very different from each other and have very different functions, so it kind of proves some versatility that Granbull can have. So without any further delay, let's get right to it. So first off, Granbull is a mononormal type Pokemon introduced in a Generation 2, and it fits into the category of the slow but powerful attacker. It has 3 abilities, the first of which is Intimidate, which I think is the best ability for Granbull, and what it does is it lowers your opponent's physical attack by 1 stage every time you switch Granbull in. And with a defensive EV spread, and with Intimidate, Granbull can be a very, very good physical wall. Its next ability is Quick Feet, which is an ability that increases your speed by 1.5 when you are statused. And this also negates paralysis, so if you are paralyzed with the Quick Feet ability, you'll just have your regular speed, which is pretty cool, though you still can get the fully paralyzed effect of the paralysis. But unfortunately for Granbull, it really isn't the fastest Pokemon to make use of Quick Feet, and if you were to, I guess, use a Pokemon with Quick Feet of a similar category like Granbull, you would be better off just going with Ursaring because it has higher base speed to make use of Quick Feet a little bit better. However, if you are going to use a Quick Feet set for Granbull, you should make note of the fact that with Quick Feet and max speed, you'll be around 310-ish 310-ish speed, which is pretty high, but not the fastest thing ever. And Granbull's third ability, Rattled, is its Dream World ability, and it's very conditional because it increases your speed by 1 stage every time you're hit by a Bug, Dark, or Ghost type move. However, since Granbull is a normal type, it is immune to Ghost, so it really only Bug and Dark types. And this could be cool if you could find a situation to use it in. However, it is very difficult to get more than 1 boost with the Rattled ability, so I would not really recommend using this over the other 2. But as for its stats, Granbull possesses some pretty good stats to be a physical wall. So with 90 HP, 75 defense, and the ability Intimidate, you can pretty much be taking physical hits very well all day. However, its special defense is somewhat lacking, being only base 60, so Granbull will have a harder time taking hits from the special side. But as for its attacking stats, it has 120 base physical attack, which is amazing and makes Granbull a very powerful attacker to make use of, and it has a lot of really high power moves to also use with this attacking stat, so Granbull can be a very, very potent physical threat against your opponent's team. However, its special attack is only base 60, which means that you probably won't be using that, though with Workup and the massive special move pool that Granbull has, you could potentially run a special attacking set, though it won't be as powerful as a physical one. And lastly, with its base 45 speed, Granbull is going to be pretty slow, but if you do want to use a Quick Feet set, you can kind of negate that a little bit, so it's not entirely horrible. Though Granbull does have a lot of moves to slow your opponent down, mainly access to Thunder Wave, Body Slam, Scary Face, and things like that. So in my opinion, if you're going to be using Granbull, you should be more or less focusing on paralyzing your opponent as opposed to increasing your own speed. But with that, let's take a look at the first of the 3 movesets I have for you today. So for this first set, we're going to start by giving Granbull an Adamant Nature to increase its physical attack, but lower its special attack. And then we're going to be going with the ability Intimidate as a way of giving Granbull some extra utility on a set like this. Obviously, the ability to lower your opponent's physical attack is good regardless of what kind of set you're running, in my opinion. But for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into HP to give us our highest HP, 252 into physical attack to give us our max physical attack, and then 4 for defense just to put the remainder of the EVs into that. As for the item though, we're going to be going with Leftovers as a way to recover a little bit of HP every turn, and that's especially useful on a set that uses Substitute like this one to recover the health that you're using to make the Substitute. But for this set, once we have our Substitute up as a way to basically protect us from any fighting attackers that want to come in and deal with Granbull, the first move that we're going to be making use of for our attacking moves is either going to be Body Slam or Return. Body Slam is obviously amazing for Granbull due to the fact that it does have some low speed, so giving that 30% chance to paralyze is very useful for Granbull. But if you want to go for a more powerful option but with no secondary effect, Return or Frustration, whichever one you want to use, is another option because it does have base 102 power with max happiness, as opposed to the 85 base power that Body Slam has. But also for this set, we're going to be making use of one of my favorite moves, which is Focus Punch, because it's a 150 base power fighting type move that works really well behind a substitute, because obviously Focus Punch fails when you are attacked, so with substitute we can basically get up free Focus Punches as long as we have the substitute. And it's also important to note that on a set like this, Body Slam, if you go with that option, will actually be less powerful than Focus Punch. However, if you do go with Return, Return will be the more powerful neutral option. But for our last move, we do want to be able to have some more coverage and also be able to hit those pesky ghost types. So we could either go with Crunch or Payback depending on which of the normal type moves you use. If you go with Body Slam, because you have that chance to paralyze, Crunch is a better move because it will have 80 base power all the time. However, if you go with Return, Payback is the better option because you will be slower than your opponent, so Payback will have 100 base power, which would be more than Crunch. But overall, this is just a powerful set for Granbull to use, and can be very frustrating if you can get the paralysis with Body Slam if you choose to use that option. Also to note, before I finish up with this, is that if you do get the paralysis, you could potentially get some free subs up if your opponent is fully paralyzed, and that's also another awesome option with this set. As for this next set, we're going to be turning Granbull into a shuffling paralyzer. So we're going to start by giving it an impish nature to increase its physical defense but lower its special attack, and then we're going to be going with the intimidate ability again as a way of lowering our opponent's physical attack and be able to take those physical moves that much better. But as for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into HP to give us our max HP, 88 defense, and then 168 special defense to give us some well-rounded defenses from both the physical and special side. And as for the item, we're going to be going with probably one of my favorite abilities, which is that of a Rocky Helmet, which basically means that anytime your opponent uses a move that makes contact, they will take damage because of this item. And this is especially useful due to the fact that most contact moves are physical moves, and with Intimidate and your defensive investment, you'll be able to actually take those very well. But for the moves for the set, the first one we're going to be going with is Body Slam as a way to paralyze our opponents potentially with that 30% chance to paralyze. And this is really great obviously for the fact, as I said before, that Granbull is very slow, and when used in combination with Roar, which is our next option, we could potentially paralyze a large majority of our opponent's team if we're able to successfully get the secondary effect to happen. So with Body Slam and Roar, we're going to be making use of Rest and Sleep Talk as well as a way to increase our HP, obviously recover it every single time we use Rest, and continue to either shuffle or paralyze things while we're asleep. And this is also especially great because of the fact that Roar ignores its negative priority if you Sleep Talk it, and with the paralysis, you could potentially just be going faster than your opponent all the time. So overall, this set has the potential to paralyze an entire team if you can, use it successfully or nothing, comes in to threaten Granbull out, which is very cool. And obviously, you wouldn't really want everything to be paralyzed because there are some things you would rather toxic to wear those down like other walls. But Granbull can do this very well, and it's another viable option for Granbull to use on a more defensive set for it. As for this last set, we're going to start by giving Granbull a careful nature to increase its special defense but lower its special attack, and then we're going to be going with Intimidate yet again. As for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into HP to give us our max HP, 4 for our physical attack, and then 252 EVs into special defense to give us our max special defense. And we're going to be going with the item Leftovers again on a set like this because we are also making use of Substitute like on the first set, and we're going to be wanting to stay in for a very long time with Granbull, so having that HP recovery is very useful. As for the moves though, aside from just using Substitute, we're going to be making use of one of Granbull's stat boosting moves, which is that of Bulk Up, to increase our physical attack and our physical defense every single turn that we use it. And this is especially good because combined with Intimidate and Substitute, it'll be very difficult to take Granbull down from the physical side and also even break the Substitute once we get a few Bulk Ups up. So that's really cool for Granbull and is definitely allowing Granbull to be a very physically defensive Pokemon on a more offensive set, which is very cool. But for our main attacking move, again, we're going to be going with Body Slam just for that paralysis because it's really great due to the fact that Granbull does have that low speed. But along with Body Slam, we have a few options that we can go for our secondary attacking move. Crunch is probably one of the most useful options just because it means that we aren't completely walled by ghost types, so Crunch will obviously be super effective against all of those ghost types that want to deal with us. But another option, and probably in my opinion the second best option, would be Earthquake, as a way to basically hit everything else that Body Slam can't. And I'm strictly speaking NU here because obviously Skarmory will resist Body Slam and Earthquake. But the only thing that you really have to worry about if you use Body Slam combined with Earthquake is Mismagius or Misdreavus or Gengar, I guess, because they're all... Actually, no, sorry. Speaking NU, it would be Misdreavus and Haunter, because they're both ghost types that levitate, which means that they're immune to both of your attacking moves. But also Brick Break is another option as a way to better deal with those steel and rock types, and it's just another option that you could go with. But personally, I think Crunch and Earthquake is the best secondary option, or if you just want to completely ignore using Substitute, you could go with both to give yourself some more coverage. But overall, this is just a solid boosting set for Granbull, like the other two are for phasing and physical attacking. So this Pokemon definitely has a lot of versatility, and I think it deserves some more credit than most people give it. But that's it for this video, everyone, so I hope you enjoyed this Granbull exhibition, and as always, take care and goodbye.